Hello there, this is Soel from Abstracture. Today we're gonna continue our last video that modeled this object, this geometry. In this tutorial we're gonna learn the lighting of this scene in Corona Renderer version 4.3, and I'm gonna tell you some theories about lighting, and we're gonna make light set in Corona Renderer. You can follow my Instagram page at Sohail Qasemi, and wherever you see an eye, double it up. Okay, now let's go to the scene and see what's going on in the software. Okay, here is the tab of Corona, and you can see all the options of the Corona is here, and you can choose whatever you want for rendering, lighting, and so on. Before that, I want to tell you some theories about how we make a light set for our scene. In this picture, as you see, there's a simple form of lighting, studio lighting, that called basic 3-point studio lighting that you can use on your object and product. The first light is the key or the main light. That is the main light source we have in the scene that lighten up the object, the majority lights for the object. And there is a lot of kind of this source that it's not the subject of tutorial, but you can find it on YouTube and other sites about the type of the lights that we use as the main light. The other light that we use to soften the shadows, to make the shadows brighter, is the fill light. It will make the scene, the product, brighter and make the contrast less sharp, and you can use it in this point of lighting. And the other light, that is hair light, that we call backlight. This is the light that we use in the back of the object to subtract the product from the background and from the curtain of the photography and the background of the object. There's some kind of usage that you can see here. I choose this photo how we put lights and how is the quality of different kind of lights that you can see on this portrait. As you can see, these lights are all main light, and there is no fill light and anything else. There's only camera and a light, that you can see how it is different on the subject, that is a portrait here. This is important. How much is the angle between the light and the product? As you can see, approximately 45 degree is the good lighting for the main light, but as you can see, the 19 degree or 0 degree of the light is also usable. In this picture you can see the backlight and the effect of the backlight on the hair of this subject, this portrait, and you can see this shading, this lights, that subtract, that make difference between the subject and the background, make an sharp edge on this point, and we can use it on a product design, product photography. And there is another lighting that we mix the warm and cold lighting, as you can see in this image, and it makes more attractive, makes more artistic form of lighting to our light. As you can see here, I chose a portrait that we see red and blue color, and it makes the image, makes the photography more artistic. By the way, the warm and the cold colors are not only blue and red, it can be used as orange and light blue and even pink and green. And this is the color mixture of warm and cold colors. Now we go back to our software uh, and I want to make this lighting setup on this object on Corona render. First of all, in this render setting, I change the uh, renderer to Corona. As you can see, when I click on Corona, all that long options are going to disappear, and all of them comes to Corona tab. Unfortunately, Corona renderer doesn't have any confusing setting that like V-Ray, like a mental ray, and that will not confuse you. It's only the default form of the setting is the best render setup. I want to change the output. If you want to put it in Instagram, make it a square, and you can see the DPI of the photo. That in this save, I'm gonna change it. If you want to make animations, you're gonna use this bottom 5 formats, and the most popular is the AVI and the MP4. And at the top of this line, there are formats of standstill images that you can use for your images output, and the popular are JPEG and TIFF and PNG, and you can choose whatever you want for your file. Under the Corona tab, in this part, progressive rendering unit, there is 3 options that we can control time of the rendering. There are 3 categories: pass limit, time limit, and noise level limit. The pass limit is the number of the passes that's gonna render the renderer render our product. The time limit is the time that takes long for every frame of the render. For example, if you render animation, every frame takes long as the time that you determine or specify for it. For example, 13 minutes, it's the time that every frame gonna take long for your render. And if you, for example, specify the pass limit to 20, it's gonna take long 20 pass for every frame of rendering. And the noise level limit is the percentage of the noise that we gonna have on the screen, on the image, on the render output, that's gonna show us on the final render. After we choose one of these type of limits that we have here, we are going to denoising part, and under the denoising mode we're gonna change the denoising mode to Corona high quality. It means that in every frame of render, after one of these limits reaches its goal, for example, noise level limits goes under the percentage that we have specified for it, the renderer is going to denoise the render for us, and we are going to have a less noisy render. If we want to customize the work area to make it easy to render, and click on the interactive rendering for Corona, at this Corona tab, you're gonna click on this dotty part of the tab, and you can drag and drop it on the top of the scene. Some of them was going to the object window, but they're not very important. Okay, now if you hit interactive rendering, you can see that there is a black window because there's no light, and as you see on the bottom of this window, there is passes that are calculating and going up very fast because there's nothing in the scene. And but if you add a light, I mean by corner light, and you can see now the rendering is going to have something, and these passes are not going fast that much. I put a corner light, and this theory that we had in the beginning of the video, I put the light. I put a light here, and I rotate it, change the orientation of this light, something like 45 degree, around 45 degree, with the rotation tools. Change the orientation around the y-axis and around the x-axis to make a main light, main or key light in my for my object, and duplicate it, and again change the orientation something around 45 degree. First I reset the orientation and then change it to something like 45, around 45, and I put it somewhere like here, and I adjust the height of these lights for my model, somewhere around model. I adjust the view and hit render, and now I can see that something is showing up, and the passes are not going that fast up because there's something to show and there's something to calculate in the renderer. Now if I disable the fill light, you can see the main light cast a sharp and dark shadow that we can adjust with a fill light. I add a hair light, a backlight for my model, and you can see it in the scene. I adjust it a little bit. The point here is that the light intensity is relevant to the distance of the light from our model. I enabled both lights, and because of the backlight is in our scene, I go to light setting and disable the visibility of the corner light. Now I don't see the light source, the rectangle light source in my model, and now when I render that, you can see that the backlight kind of separate the object, kind of separate the statue from its background. I disabled the fill light, that you can see the bright light that is on the edge of this statue, on the background of the statue, and this is how a product looks like in the render. Now if I enable the fill light, you can see the brighter shadows and brighter model. But if you increase the distance between this light and the model, we can adjust the brightness of this shadow. It's up to you if you want to have this contrast, if you want to see this contrast, to enable or disable the fill light. Now I'm gonna make a curtain as a background for this object. If you have noticed, there is a fillet at the bottom of and the connection of the horizontal and the vertical part of this curtain. As you can see, there's a fillet on the corner. I'm gonna use a box and make it bigger. Let's make the model in it, and gonna see how it looks like, and you see how it looks like. I'm gonna make it editable, delete this side, and as you can see I have the horizontal and the vertical part of the curtain. I'm gonna choose this edge and bevel it to fillet this corner. Why? Because this corner is gonna make a shadow for us, and we don't want this shadow. We want that continuity of the floor and the wall, and this is why we fillet the corner of this curtain. Okay, I adjust the curtain, camera, and the view, and now I hit interactive rendering, and as you can see the background appears here, and the backlight is separate the object from the background, and that is what we want for our lighting. As you can see, this light drops a shadow on the background, but we don't want that. I'm gonna select all the lights and uncheck the occlude other lights, because this rectangular light, it's this is kind of an object, a planar object, and if you uncheck the occlude other lights, they're gonna drop no shadows, and they're gonna be kind of not an object on the scene, and we unocclude them. Okay, now we adjust the backlight to drop a nice lighting in the background, and separate it and make it separate from the object separate from the background. I'm gonna make a corner camera and check this button here, that we go inside the camera and comes outside it. Remember, if you wanna change your model, navigate through your model, uncheck that icon not to change your camera. And I put a protection tag to my camera to fix this, and it doesn't move anymore in any direction, doesn't navigate, doesn't orient. And if you want to navigate through your model, you should uncheck that camera icon. Now I hit render. Now this is my setup for this render. You can play with light, color, intensity, and anything else. I manage the light, manage the camera, adjust it a bit more. I zero up the x-axis of the camera, that it goes to the center of the frame, and change numbers a little bit, coordinations. And now this is my setup. You can have your own setup. It's up to you how you want to present your final render. Thank you for watching this video. This is the part 2 of the sequence of making this image. In the next video and the final video of this sequence, we're gonna make some materials and render the final image. If you enjoyed this video, like it and subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much.